Welcome to the Dan Stevens Show, episode 6. Episode 106 of my total tally of podcasts since I had the Truths in there and started this one. On this week's show, on the Dan Stevens Show this week, there will be the topics section that have popped up over the last week, which include Turkish bathhouse, boiled in a car, or maybe that should be steamed. I'll let you decide when I talk about it. And speed cameras not in use. Then we'll have the mullet over section, which is a section where I get AI to ask me a light-hearted philosophical question. Then the news. A new section in which I talk about Ireland's top female porn star and her plans to have intercourse with 10 virgins. I talk about things like, is there that many virgins in Ireland? Spoiler, there is. Also, I talk about where will she get them from? You'll hear it. So let's get on with it anyway. You'll notice that for the viewers, I'm in a small room here. There was no other way I could record this without having the bed in the picture. I'll be back in the studio next week, back in Dublin. Just gotta make do sometimes, you know. I remember last year I recorded an episode from a tent in Florida during a storm. The tent was actually leaking at the time. Not long after I recorded it, the garden down the road was hit by lightning, so about 50 meters away. So pretty intense time. So I do what I can. If you're new here, consistency is probably my best attribute, because the quality obviously isn't, because if you're new to this, if you're a loyal listener, thank you so much for listening. I love you. If not, and you're a new listener, I am consistent. I will produce content every week on this. I do enjoy it. I have a small, loyal army, like I say, of listeners. And although I think the last episode got 8 listens or views on YouTube, and I think about 16 now or something on Spotify, which is the lowest in a long time. But the retention is high, which means that people are listening to the whole episode, or just about. And I'm being myself here. I'm bringing content that I think is funny and that I think will connect with people. I guess there's a slight connection to the stand-up comedy element of it too. But I don't actually do much of the things that I talk about here on stage. I just think it's a separate thing. But anyway, that's enough about that for now. We're going to get into the topics of the week. Most of you are probably aware that I've been in Edinburgh since the 30th or 31st of July. It's now the 18th of August. I spent 16 of those nights sleeping in my Nissan Serena, which is an unconverted 7-seater car. I flattened the seats down, put a single mattress in the back, used one side for storage, one side for sleeping, and that was it. I was lucky enough to be parked outside a student accommodation where Rob Nodder is staying, who I do the show MWA Mullets with Attitude with over here. We've done 18 shows now. It's going pretty well. It's going well. It's in a cave, which is interesting, at 10:50 p.m. every night in Edinburgh City. But lucky enough, I was able to use the facilities of that. Well, it would depend if Rob was around or not. Luckily, there is a cafe on campus which has a toilet and cafe. They're very good, I have to say. I can't say enough good things about this university campus. What they do for people during the Edinburgh Fringe. And like accommodation, I think, is probably, if you're an artist, you get it for £1,200 or £1,300 for the month. And for what you get, it's a small room. You can, for those who can't see it, small basic room. Reminds me of a cabin on a Stena Line boat. So what I did was I slept in my car for 16 or those 18 nights. One night I was back in Dublin. One night I slept above a pub. And for the last week, I'm now into the last week of the Edinburgh Festival. We've 7 shows to go. I said, you know what? I'm going to go into the reception of this accommodation place and I'm going to ask them if they have anything available. Take a chance. I'd be happy enough to stay the rest of the time in the car, but I wanted somewhere to lie down and have a toilet, and it just makes you appreciate the basics a lot more in life. So that's one thing I'm enjoying here. So that's right, man. It's been up and down. One night we might have 3 people at the show. Another night we'd have 40. We flyer every night in Edinburgh City, 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Me and Rob, trying to charm people in. It's been about 80% walk-ins, 20% ticket sales. Then people usually leave something at the end, like a note or a tip. So that's right, man. I only got. This is the reality of the situation. I got caught short a couple of times in the car park of the student accommodation. One time at 3 o'clock in the morning. Another time at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll say no more about that. If you want more details about that, go to the Patreon. I'm joking, I don't have one of those. Some people get grossed out, but look, it's just, think about this car park has it has sections. It's linear. There's a line of car parking spaces, bushes in the middle. That's a hint. And sometimes you just get, you gotta go. If you're wondering about that, that's that situation. But I have found a diamond of a place actually nearby. This is the first topic of the week. It's in a place called Portobello, which is about 10 minutes from Musselburgh, where I am, and about 20-25 minutes outside Edinburgh. It's a coastal little town. And I found a Turkish bathhouse, which I didn't know what that was. I thought it might be gay, like a gay sauna or something. But I took the risk, took the chance, and it paid off. Not in the... Anyway. It was just... the first couple of weeks sleeping in the car were rough. And one morning, it was actually that I just needed a shower. But no one was up yet. I'd no shower I could use. There's 2 other comedians, Owen Collins and Rob Nodder, staying in this place where I'm staying now, but at the time I was in the car, in the van, and it was just too early, and I just wanted to get up and I wanted to have a shower. So I drove to the Turkish bathhouse. Really nice people again. £20 for a week membership. A Turkish bathhouse, I'd never been in one. It's basically a steam room. Then you go to a slightly cooler space, and then a cooler space again. They're like little rooms that are cooler, and then you end the cycle in a cold plunge small pool, about 6 or 7 meters long and about 1.5 meters wide, and you just dive in. I went there on a Thursday morning about 10 a.m. All old people. I swear to God, I remember looking around in the Turkish bathhouse and there was just towels with glasses on top of them. That's all I could see, which was fine. Nice people. But I'd never been in one. I'd highly recommend going to one if you can. Go to a Turkish bathhouse. It's not what it sounds like. Actually, a guy gave out to me as well in the Turkish bathhouse. I had done my steam room and was going into the cold plunge, and of course there was a guy going in at the same time as me. He must have been in his 70s. And he was like, "Hey, Now you only get in, you dive in, and you basically how it works is it's 2 steps into the water, and it's about 1.2 meters. It goes up to your chest. So you step down into it. Then there's about 4 or 5 meters. That's 1.2 meters deep, or whatever it is, and then you step back up the other end. So you literally dive in, swim one stroke, and then step out the other end. He's like, I know you only. This could go Northern Irish, but he's like, I know you can only go in there for 2 seconds. 2 seconds, that's all. He was a bit, I don't know, affected by age, let's say. I was like, alright, so he dives in, gets out, and then I just jump in and stay there. And he's like, I said, it's too cold. Why are you staying in there? Too cold. I was like, I just want to stay here. Fuck you then. He verbally abused me then. I was like, just don't be getting, what, are you jealous? What's your problem? No, I didn't want to say anything back. You can't be going into someone else's territory and talking back to them, but weird one. Alright. The next topic. Boiled in the car. So I went out on the beer heavy one of the nights here. The night our show, we've had one show cancelled actually here. One time we sold no tickets. And I had got the train into the city and I went out on the beer. Out till about 5 in the morning. I blackout drunk. I'm a terrible drunk. Don't drink that often. Had a good time though. Sleeping in the car at the time. And I woke up on the sunniest, hottest morning ever. And I've no curtains on the windows or anything on my Nissan Serena. And I've never been sweating so much. The sheets were soaked. The duvet was soaked. And the sweat was just absolutely rolling off me. I had a headache, a hangover. My body was sore because that morning was the Turkish bathhouse morning. No, I did a workout before. That's not. It was the upper body. So, yes, I was struggling big time. And I think that was one of the moments where I was like, it was one of the moments where I was like, I think I might need to stay in a building for the last week. Also, I know over the last week is like the final stretch of doing 30 minutes of comedy every night each, and then you're doing comedy during the day. Our show, like I say, it's on at 10:50 p.m. You just can't relax for the day. It's always ahead of you. So I think somewhere nice to sleep and sleep a bit longer was nice. So it was like, you know what, yeah, I'll treat myself to this. But that, yeah, it was like a dumpling, honestly, like a steamed dumpling. And when I got back from the night out, I'd strip down to the boxers. I didn't usually do that. If I'm sober and like going to bed at a reasonable time, which is like 1 a.m. after the show, I'd put my shorts on, my t-shirt, and lie in the back. I just got back to that car and just whipped the jeans off, t-shirt off, down to the boxers, just straight in. I tell you, it's lucky I did. I probably would have been cooked like a turkey if I left the clothes on. But I've never sweated so much in my life. It was the turning point of deciding to move indoors, take a bit of a hit on the wallet, on the old credit card. How much was it? I'll tell you how it works quickly. In this student accommodation, while the students are off and the festival is on, they book it out in week blocks, so it's from Thursday to Thursday. This was a Saturday that I decided to move in. And then I'm leaving. I had 9 days left at the time to... 9 nights left. I had to book it for 2 weeks, basically, even though I only could use it for 9 nights. It was about 580 something pounds. It was just about... I'll be honest with you, I went into the reception. I was going to try and get it for free. I was going to be like, I was like, look, I went in thinking I'll get a deal here, I'll get a deal here. And I was like, look, I'm a performer at the Fringe, and I've been basically living in my van for the last few weeks, and I just wouldn't mind somewhere to rest my head for a week. The last week, and then they're like, "Oh no, don't really have anything." And I was like, and then I was like, "Would you have anything like?" And they're like, "Oh, we have a 4-bedroom flat for $2,500." I was like, "No." And then they're like, "Oh, actually, we do have a student room with a fucking tiny bed and a cabin, Jack's toilet, but it will be blah blah." So basically, I went in for a bargain and they done me. They got extra out of me, so now that I think of it, I got a terrible deal. Probably should have went somewhere else. Anyway, next topic. This is a quick one before we get into the mullet over section. Next topic is in Edinburgh, and let me know if you think I'm being facetious or stupid here, or I don't know what the word is, but I'm driving around, and when they don't have, for some reason, sometimes they don't have the speed cameras in use, and I'm driving past one of them. It's a very speed controlled zone and traffic controlled zone, Edinburgh City. LES, it says. LES is written everywhere, which means low emission zone, which is just weird. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm driving around in an 09 Nissan Serena, so there is emissions. So and I'm allowed to drive there, so I don't know what they're talking about. Obviously, there's some sort of financial angle to what they're doing. Parking, like I said, I got another parking ticket as well. Yeah, just to say that too. And I won't be paying them actually. Yeah, and they can chase me back to. Look, I hope they're listening. That means I'll have more listeners. I hope they are. And you can chase me back to Ireland. You can try and charge me £8 an hour in your city. I'm not paying it. I'll park where I want. I'm not blocking anyone. Not doing any harm. So yeah, I've got 4 now. So yeah, don't tell them. Anyone who, I'll be getting a bit of abuse online as well. Actually, to be honest, guys. To be honest with you. Yeah, like I put YouTube clips up off this show, and people are like, "How do you think you're funny? You're an idiot. You're not. Don't ever try to be a comedian." Little do they know I've been doing it 3 years nearly. But yeah, like, just I respond to them as well. People say don't respond. I'll get them back. Wittier than them. But it's just I don't know. I'm not the traditional kind of entertainment people go for. I'm starting to learn. It's going well on stage, don't get me wrong, with the stand-up. And I love doing this, and I know that I have my loyal followers, but I'll be getting backlash on YouTube. I released clips. I was slagging Lewis Capaldi as well, and, people didn't like that. I was only messing. I was joking. But it was just about him having the shakes and that, Anyway, I won't go back to him again. Probably write a song about it, will he? Him and Picture This will gang up on Ed Sheeran, write the saddest song ever. Then the buskers will be playing on the streets of Dublin then, just to make sure no one has a good day. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. The speed cameras. When the speed cameras are not in use, they put this orange cover over them, an orange plastic cover over them. And I'll be honest, when you see a speed camera and it has an orange plastic cover over it that says, "This camera is not in use," why do they do that? When I see it, I put the foot down. I don't break the limit too much, but I just go, "Oh, cool, that's grand." Just leave it without a cover on it and it'll be a deterrent. Alright, so that one goes to the Edinburgh City Council. There's a bit of advice for you. Don't chase me for the parking tickets. You can have that one. Alright, now we go to the mullet over section. This is where I ask AI to ask me a light-hearted philosophical question. Originally, the segment was just a philosophical question, but they absolutely turned me in knots and we'd be here for hours if I tried to answer them. So the question here is, if you could choose one silly superpower to make your daily life more fun, like instantly turning any food into ice cream, or making everyone around you burst into song, what would you pick and why? So I think this question lacks context, and I think it's... So I used to think about having I briefly thought about having what superpower I'd pick if I could have one. And I remember the last time I discussed it with people was when I was probably about 12 years old. And it was obviously being able to see through things. I was going into puberty. We all were. I'd be like, oh, imagine looking through it. Like, no, I wouldn't have that now. If you could see through people's clothes and stuff, that I'm not thinking about that now. I'm saying back then, I was 12 or 13. You're like, yeah, that'd be great. But no, what I'm saying is, I wouldn't want any of these. Like, what's it say again? Turn any food into ice cream. You must be joking me. I don't even like ice cream. It's too cold. Especially not vanilla ice cream. I don't trust people that like vanilla ice cream either. And it's not really like I've smelled vanilla off stuff, vanilla pods and stuff. That ice cream is not vanilla. It's just plain sugar flavor, is it? I don't know. But I don't know why this AI suggested turning any food into ice cream. No. Or making everyone around you burst into song. That would just be weird. So now, but if I could pick a silly superpower, don't be shy as well, people. Send your silly superpower. Nobody ever sends anything in, anyway. Nobody does ratings anymore. I've got 2 ratings on my Spotify in the last year or something. Lost a subscriber in the last month. What else? On the second last episode, I got 120 views or something on YouTube. Last episode, 8. What the? I'm still the same guy. And I don't want anyone's feedback, right? I'm sick of feedback. Even though, I'll be honest with you, I did get this suggestion about the next section, which is the news, from a comedian friend of mine, from Owen Collins. So thanks to him for that. I think it's a good idea. Why not talk about a bit of modern day stuff, huh? So, anyway, if I could pick a silly superpower, I would say, shut up. What are you on about? That's a stupid question to ask an adult. If you're a kid, talk about it because you're still excited about stuff. But I've seen it all now. I don't like ice cream. I wouldn't want to see through anyone's clothes or into whatever. I wouldn't want to be invisible because everything would be ruined on you. And even if you did love ice cream, turning every food into ice cream, eventually you'd get sick of ice cream. And then what? So just take life as it comes. You don't need a superpower. And making everyone around you burst into songs, just weird. Yeah, that question, I'd say, which superpower would I pick? None. Because it's a stupid question. Hopefully next week's one is better. But I go with the one they give me, with mullet over. So that's that one. It's called mullet over because I have a mullet as well. I think it's pretty cool. Now for the news story. And I've done my research this week, guys. I tell you, things are changing around here. I'm changing the way the show's done. I've written out everything. I'm planning it. All the stuff before it. I did anyway, but I'm doing it on a different level now. I mean, I've researched this story. I'm going to read out the story for you guys. Excuse me. So this is the news. It was originally called News from the Rags, which is shit newspapers. But it could be, this is from The Guardian or something, I don't know. But okay, so here we go. If you could choose one silly wrong section. Excuse me. Oh, that's why you only got 8 views. Things like that. Oh, shut up. So I scoured the internet for Irish news stories, and this is what I came up with. Hair. I've just out of the shower. Hair's a bit messy for the viewers, anyway. Sure you'll forgive me. So Ireland's top female porn star, Megan O'Neill, gives an update on her bid to sleep with 10 virgins on camera. Well, and it has to be, the stipulation is that it has to be 10 men aged from 29, so 29 or over. She says, she's from Antrim, this woman. She says, I'm giving them the chance of a lifetime. I'm giving back to the community for those men. What does that mean? I'm giving, this is a quote. The exact quote was, sorry, I'm giving them the chance of a lifetime. I'm giving back to the community for these men. How does that affect the community? What a ridiculous statement. Anyway, we continue. She says, they will not be paid. The payment is losing their virginity to me. I didn't see her. I don't care what she looks like. I mean, my God. Payment is losing their virginity to me. Well, I mean, I think a big factor in the satisfaction or the worth of the experience would be which man is number 1 and which man is number 10. Because I don't think that's equal payment. But anyway, I don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, not very ambitious, is she? Like, 10 virgins on camera. Your one Bonnie Blue slept with like 1,000 people on camera, did she? She didn't give a timeline either. Just 10 virgins on camera. I mean, Jesus. The old Catholic repression is still rampant in Ireland. She's only going to sleep with 10 virgins. Oh, my God. And she is giving back to the community. But yeah, you have Bonnie Blue, all these other people, so much more ambitious than this woman. But to say they will not be paid, give them 20 quid or something, for God's sake. What about travel? Like, where is she coming to them? I'm sure they'll have to drive. And that got me thinking, actually, about, get a bit of petrol money. Jesus Christ. No respect for these people, for these virgins. But I looked into it, right? I was thinking, how many people will she have to choose from? How many is there? And I did the research. And where would they be from? Okay. This is interesting research. Okay, so the stats are, so this woman wants to sleep with 10 virgins, Megan O'Neill. She has 3% of Irish men over 29 are virgins. Now, this is all stats that okay. 3% of Irish men over 29 are virgins. 1.6 million. There's 1.6 million men over 29. So, and there's 480,000 single men over 29. So basically, the rough estimate is that between 19,200 and 41,760 approx virgins over the age of 29 in Ireland. Now, which counties will the virgins most likely be from? The county with the most virgins is Dublin. Obviously, because it's the capital that has the highest population. But I wasn't happy with that. I did a deep dive. I wanted to find out which county in Ireland, which counties has the most virgins per capita in Ireland. And I'm sorry, Leitrim. I'm sorry, Leitrim. And I'm sorry, Roscommon. But you have... Leitrim has between 216 to 312 virgins. Roscommon has between 456 to 664 virgins over the age of 29. So both is probably where they're going to be from. But then I thought, wait a minute. Where are the shyest men from? Because then... So I looked up the shyness stats. So... Leitrim has between 2,100 and 3,400 shy men over 29. So I'd imagine that the between 216 to 312 virgins are also shy. I mean, she's going to do well to get 10 men, that's what I'm saying. Roscommon has between 4,200 to 6,900 shy men over 29. So, I don't know. If she's going to do some targeted ads, then I'd pick those two places. But, yes, they have the most virgins, those two places, but they're also the two shyest counties in Ireland. Obviously, I'd say that kind of comes into play. I would say those two things are linked, unfortunately. So if you're a shy man, I wonder is that where shaman came from? Is that like a Jamaican shy man? Hello, I'm a shaman. That's ridiculous. Just went spiritual then because he couldn't get any. So, sorry Leitrim, sorry Roscommon. I doubt I'll get any pushback from them about saying this either because they're too shy. But, yeah. So she has in total between basically 20 to 40,000 virgins over 29 to choose from in Ireland. So best of luck to her. Hope she finds what she's looking for and has a great time. But I won't be watching it. I couldn't care less. I think it's cringe coming out in the Guardian talking about it. It's just trying to copy off Bonnie Blue. You know, not that she's any better. You know, I just don't have any time for it. I heard as well that if you want to watch that type of thing in the UK, you have to have an account now on them sites. So I'm told. But yeah, it's I mean, fair enough, isn't it? So that was the news section. If there's any virgins out there, there probably is a few of them listening to this and watching this. Get in touch with. I don't know where you get in touch with her. Her name is Megan O'Neill, and she's looking for 10 virgins. So, and how can she prove actually that you're not one? I could just say I'm one. I just go dressed like this. I'm sure she'd believe me. By the way, I just want to apologise as well. Last week, one of my buttons was busted open. I didn't notice it until I was editing it after. So, sorry to anyone who was grossed out or excited. That's this week's episode. That's this week's episode of the Dan Stevens Show. Done and dusted from Musselburgh in Edinburgh. Keep an eye on my Instagram, danstevens.comedy, and the Dan Stevens Show. I'm going to be putting out a MTV Cribs style video. That is actually just a Cribs tour of my Nissan Serena. Keep an eye out for that. Follow the Instagram pages. You'll also see MW8 Mullets with Attitude page. That's my stand-up comedy duo that I'm in at the moment. And yeah, follow danstevens.comedy for all things comedy. My end. And the Dan Stevens Show on Instagram. Please give a high rating on Spotify if you haven't done yet, and if you're enjoying the show. And subscribe, share, get the word out if you like the podcast. I will be making an effort to put more time into marketing and all that stuff. Because, as I said earlier, people are listening, people are enjoying. It's just not getting to enough people. So that's on me. And I'm really enjoying making this and enjoying making content for you guys. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. And goodbye.